Good evening and welcome back to From Day One, episode 41.3. So that being said, as always, let's grab the mailbag real quick. Because unfortunately, I am running behind schedule tonight. So let's get immediately over to open lines with the Superpower line.
If you're listening to a radio station, I've been meaning to say this for a while now, please give them a plug. We've got a lot of affiliates coming online shortly. Big cities. Should I name drop a little? Well, like Phoenix, like LA. I really shouldn't say more, but it's going pretty crazy. This is really fun, really fun. Hello there, outside the country somewhere. Artie, you're on the air.
Good morning,
Good morning, Artie.
Clive Ike in Scotland.
In Scotland, all right.
Yeah, it's brilliant to speak to you, sir. I've been listening to you for a long, long time, and I'm listening on the internet at just about 6 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah, probably sitting there with coffee or tea or something, right?
Well, something like that.
So the Scottish begin the day with something a little stronger.
Begin the day, this is us just ending one day.
You don't have any superpowers, do you?
Superpowers?
Yes, superpowers.
Well, no, nothing out the ordinary, you know what I mean? I can hold a drink and I can hold a smoke. Is that a superpower?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, I guess. I love your accent.
Well, you must have Scottish relatives yourself, do you know it?
I think there is a little bit of Scottish in me. I'm mostly English-Irish, but a bit of Scottish.
Really? Because one of our major whiskey brands is called Arthur Bell.
Really?
Really? One of the major sellers over here is the Bell Company that's they've made whiskey for centuries.
You know, your accent is actually so strong it's hard to understand you.
That bad, is it?
Well, no, that's not bad. It's just what you are, and I'm not great with some of what you're saying.
You've lived all over the world. You lived in the Philippines.
I have, yes.
Yep. You've lived out in the Far East.
Yes, but trust me, Asian accents are nothing like Scottish accents. Not even close.
Really? So you've not come across many Scotch people then?
Not that many, but I'm glad to know you're out there. I don't think we've ever heard from you before, have we?
Never, no.
Never.
We've never spoken, sir. Well, like I say, I've listened to you. I love radio, and I love listening to you.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for the call. I really do. All the way from Scotland. That is so cool. I love the fact that we can just go around the world, even if some of the accents are indiscernible to me. We've done it again. I'm sorry. Skype has stopped working, it says. A problem caused the program to stop working correctly. Windows will close the program and notify you if a solution is available. Well, what's happened is we're going to go ahead and close the program. I'm very sorry, those of you who were waiting. It'll work. I can reopen the program. What happens is that I don't think that Skype was made for talk show people. In other words, when you get 40 or 50 people calling in at one time, it just sort of goes, okay, I give up. It's done this on virtually every open line show that I've done at some point or another. It just throws up its Skype hands and says, this is not possible. Closing. And that's that. All right. Hello there. You are on the air from, I believe, Virginia.
Yes, that's right. My name's Plasman Fullerton, and I've called you before. I'm actually a libertarian.
Libertarian?
A libertarian. It's not a political thing. It's sort of a combination of smaller government and bigger universe.
Huh. I like it. Actually,
I thought you would. I mean, I normally listen on WTWW shortwave, but tonight, since I'm in the Pleiades star cluster, I'm using the RSA uplink and using the ALMA array of telescopes in the Atacama High Desert in Chile as the downlink.
Wow. Okay.
And I think that I had a hand in making ALMA happen. It uses a photonic, a local oscillator. It uses two lasers that have a difference frequency, and it can actually receive in the sub-millimeter band all the way up to 950 gigahertz, 0.95 terahertz.
Right.
And I think that's the radio telescope that may be able to resolve the composition of what these gigantic things around that star are made of, because you can look at atomic structure and molecular structure.
We've got a satellite that can look, but it's out of order at the moment.
Yeah, the Kepler has lost its reaction control system, so that it can't actually hold station keeping on the stars very well.
Well, my comment would be that it's a little disappointing. I mean, Kepler sees this amazing alien megastructure thing and then goes out of order. So we're all left here going, oh, come on, now what?
Well, we've got the very large array in the plains of St. Augustine in New Mexico, and we've got this almost thing up in the Chilean desert, and they're very high resolution at those kind of sizes. And plus, we have all kinds of optical telescopes, some of which have...
well, yeah, but sir, this thing is 1,500 light years away. We've got to be out in space to look at it properly.
Well, that's the trick, because the atmosphere will vary the intensity. You really need an outer space telescope. Maybe they can designate some Hubble Space Telescope time. It's got photometers on board that are pretty accurate, and while it's still got any life left in it, we should probably be trying to do that.
What do you think? What do you think about a civilization that could do what they're suggesting this one has done all that way away? I mean, should we ever be in contact with them?
All right, I'm going to give right back to Art in just a second, just so you guys know why I did what I did there in the dungeon. Is because we got less than 5 minutes before the little pop-up of the New Day of Dominion, and I didn't want those divinification cards to go to waste. All right, now back to Art.
Or not?
I think we would want to observe very carefully what was going on, as you said, 1,500 years ago. There may be some remote viewers who come in and take a closer look and not have to be limited by the speed of light.
Aren't you a little bit concerned that they would be so far ahead of us that, I don't know, they would step on us like an anthill?
Right, that's a possibility if there's hostility. Of course, hopefully if they're so far ahead of us, they've also given up on the idea of war as being a waste of time.
Well, we don't have enough experience. I'm sorry, but we don't have enough experience yet with what happens to a warlike people. We are warlike people, and we have not yet mended our ways. In fact, we've got ourselves in so many wars that we can't even afford it.
Ronald Reagan said that if we had a perceived threat from external sources like this sort of civilization, it might make us rethink our warlike ways here.
Well, I think, well, he may have meant that, or he may have meant that planet Earth would come together. The Russians and the Americans, like dogs and cats, would get together and go, kumbaya, we must build bigger bombs to deal with this big threat, right? So there's two ways of thinking about this. It may be that warlike people eventually evolve into really warlike people, so that instead of simply taking over another country or nation building yet another nation, we planet build. We sterilize what's there now, and we reseed it. Now, if that's the way it goes, we're cooked. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just thinking of the half glass of water, right? It could go either way. Everybody assumes that as we evolve socially, we will become nice people. We will stop our warlike ways. We will hold hands. All will be well. Kisses and hugs all around, right? But it also could be true that we're going to go the other way. And what is now a warlike nation will become a warlike world, a warlike people. End of speech. Hope that's not true. Hi there. You're on the air. Skype.
Hi, Arbel. How are you today?
I'm pretty good.
I'm calling about the radio the broadcast that you had on the air the other night.
Ah, yes.
Okay, I was listening via WebSDR last night because it intrigued me. And I was listening on 8,992 kilohertz.
Okay.
Which is also Air Force for the SAC.
Yes.
And at one point, I heard what sounded like Arabic and French language.
Boy, Arabic would be the last thing that I would expect to hear on a SAC frequency.
Yes, and I'm wondering maybe if that was Turkish.
I would have no way of knowing.
I would have no way of knowing either, but with this down drone, I wonder if there's any kind of connection.
It's a good question.
And there was also a lot of chatter on there last night.
Yeah, but why would it be Turkish chatter?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Well, that's interesting. Keep listening. If you hear anything particularly interesting, record it and send it to me.
I most certainly will.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Take care. So what we'll do is there are many of you who monitor out there. I know thousands of you who, as a kind of a hobby, monitor. And if you hear anything really cool, by all means, call me. Hello there on the phone. You're on the air.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
You.
Yeah, I am. Oh, sorry, you kind of caught me off guard. I had a quick question, since you're always talking about like the radio stations and all that, how you're an affiliate.
Sure.
With the radio and being on the internet, how do you track ratings and stuff like that?
It is an interesting question. There are many ways to track. And one of them, of course, is raw numbers that you get from a server, or the master servers that send the program out. That's one way. With radio, they have a new system now that is run by Nielsen. Used to be Arbitron, but Nielsen has now taken over. So you have to get those figures. And then, of course, you've got a lot of people these days, sir, that don't listen live. They want it when they want it. And that means usually the next day. So you have this massive number of people who want to become what we call time travelers. And, they pay like $8 a month, $7.99, I believe, and they can listen to the show any old time they want. So you're asking a complicated question.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Yeah.
So what are your numbers?
I really don't know at any given moment. They're pretty big, though. Again, we have so many affiliates now. We have so many people listening online and so many people listening the next day or 2 days later. I can't give you numbers. And even if I could, I wouldn't.
Okay. I was just curious. That's been bugging me for a while. So.
Okay, 1.87 million.
Wow.
Big number, huh?
Yeah, especially what's it been, like a couple months?
Yeah, well, I made it up.
I made it up.
The truth is, I have absolutely no idea. A lot of people, sir. A lot of people.
Oh, man. One more quick question.
Sure. Real quick.
The Halloween show, Halloween falls on a Saturday. Is that Friday night?
Yeah, so we're going to do it Friday night, right?
Okay.
You got it, buddy. Later. Remember, email your stories to artbell@knye.com.
Alrighty, and we'll return to them as soon as their music bumper is concluded to avoid the YouTube nasty catch of catchiness.
Remember, the NSA, well,
You know, to call the show, please dial 1-952-225-5278. That's 1-952-CALL. Art. Absolutely love that. Hey, everybody. It's the weekend. It's Friday night, Saturday morning. Don't forget our 2-drink minimum. God, I didn't mention that at the beginning of the show. We have a special line for anybody who claims to have superpowers. Now, what do I mean by superpowers? Well, it should be self-explanatory. If you can do something that other human beings simply would regard as amazing, then you have a superpower, right? And you would want to call area code 575-208-7787. Once again, area code area code 575, my apologies, 208-7787. If you're a first-time caller, have never called the show, it's area code 775-285-5800. And, of course, we're available on Skype. North America is MITD51. The rest of the world is MITD55. Going to my superpower line, you are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Rod. My name is Chuck. I'm from Rochester, New York, and I listen on TuneNet. And I've been to Buffalo, too. You're right. It's snowy.
Oh, yeah. Very snowy.
My superpower is that I get to get parking spaces open for me. No matter where I go, I get the closest non-handicapped spot to the door that I'm going. They just open up for me. People that drive with me don't believe it, and they see it happen over and over again. All right.
Here's the question for you then. Do you think that you, in other words, you know where you're going, right?
Right.
So prior to getting there, you may be pushing somebody who has one of those close parking spots into leaving early by some really devious method.
Close, sir. Very close. What I do is I use the law of attraction to get somebody to leave. And I developed after I read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne.
Yes.
And one really interesting thing is if I don't have complete faith and confidence that it works, like say I pull in and I say, oh, there's a spot that's close enough. And then I walk past and there's the spot that I should have. It takes about a month to get it back. It's because like I don't have faith that it's going to work. So it takes a while to develop it. And but once I get it going, as long as I have confidence and faith, it's like if I'm driving and I have a family member, I'll say, watch this, and I'll just like shake my hand, and then a couple rows down, there it is. Wow. But it's amazing. It always works.
Well, I would say that, thank you, is an extremely handy power, and one that I wish I had myself. I'm going to work on that.
All right, we'll be back to you in just a second, Art. Currently in the early fights, just a couple hours in, it's New World 500. The Avengers, nothing. And that's because, well, none of them have done anything. Let's take a look at the actual board. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and unless my count's off, let me count it again to be sure. 4, 8, 10, 14, 16, 18, 19. So it appears that one fight failed. So 19 out of 20 fights being successful. Alright, let's take a look at the bubble. aka bubble toil and trouble. Okay. So, out to the outland, get those chests. First, for the incinerator in the fiery abyss. Oh, hold on, that's part 1 speech. Back to Art.
But in order for that to work, he said he uses the law of attraction. I would think it would be something else. I mean, produce a sudden tummy ache in somebody who's parked in, well, the spot you want. and start concentrating on that ahead of time. But he's kinder. He's at the law of attraction. So he simply attracts them back to their farm, I guess. Let's go outside the country to who knows where. Mario, you're on the air.
Hey, g'day, how are you going?
I'm going quite well, thank you.
Ecstatic. I would love to share with you and your listeners something I stumbled upon roughly about 2-3 weeks ago called the Library of Babel. Does that ring a bell for you?
The Library of Babel?
Yes.
No, other than the biblical reference to the Tower of. Otherwise, no.
So basically, it's a website, and it's pretty much a library that contains everything that has been written, is being written, and will be written.
Well, do they actually have more there than even Siri knows?
Basically, to give you an understanding of how big this library is,
yes.
I did some rough calculations, and if you spent 100 years and every second were to be able to look at one page of that library,
really,
for non-stop,
really,
you would see 0.0018% of the whole entire library.
Wow.
So this is where it becomes even more spooky and interesting. The library is searchable. And I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about it. I don't have any sponsorship or anything like that. I just found it to be a mind-blowing experience. So, yeah, just wondering if you'd like to know a little bit more about it.
Well, I'll find out more about it. How's that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have, like, an iPhone or something?
I'm using the earphones at the moment. Is the quality still okay?
No, but I meant you have an iPhone.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
In Australia, does Siri have, like, an Australian accent?
They try real hard.
I've been wondering about that.
I've noticed the difference in her voice, I'd say, definitely with the new updates and the new software. But the recognition is a lot better than what it used to be. Sometimes I have to put on like an American accent as well. So didn't always work, but, you try what you can.
If you had an opportunity, sir, if let's say you're dying, you've got a diagnosis really bad, something awful, and you're offered the opportunity to hook up your brain to a computer and to continue to live as long as you wish in the computer, would you accept that instead of the obvious alternative?
Very good question. It would depend, I think, on the quality of life.
Well, the quality of life would be
the senses that I have now.
Well, it would be the internet. You would be hooked up to the internet.
There's a whole lot of junk on the internet.
There is. I mean, for example, porn, but what would you do with it, right? So nothing for that. Let's see. You couldn't eat. Well, maybe you could pick up an occasional cookie.
Oh, God, Art.
I think you're on fire tonight.
Have a good night, sir.
Okay.
Right.
Art, before you let me go.
Yes.
There's 2 sections to this library, and I think one could actually be a big asset to your show.
And that would be?
Well, I'm not sure the type of guest that you're planning to have on in the future, but technically there's this image archive version of this library as well, which means that it contains every single photo that could ever be produced, including that of, say, for example, the birth of the universe, or maybe if someone was to be channeling someone, say, a photo of who they're channeling, different dimensions, different cities, just it's the vastness of information is just mind-boggling to get your head around. So where I thought it would be really interesting for your show is that if you had someone that had the capacity to talk to, say, different entities, could they provide a reference image within the library of, say, themselves or even where they live or what?
Pretty interesting.
Basically, just anything.
So it's like the server of Babel.
It is. It's really spooky because technically, did you invent it or did you discover it?
Good question. All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. Interesting. I've contemplated that. Would I accept being hooked up to a machine that would allow me to travel the highways and byways and rutted roads of the Internet? I guess that would be the ultimate goal, right? If you were hooked up to a computer, you'd want to be where everything is, and that would be the Internet. Going to my superpower line, you are on the air. Hello.
Hello, my name is Ruby. Calling in regards to I got a superpower of sorts.
I bet you must be really strong. Your name like Ruby, you've done a lot of fighting, right?
No.
Okay. Right.
But I got a Wookie Call or Sasquatch. Depends on who hears it. But do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Keeps coyotes away when you're camping.
Can I hear that again, please? You know, I'm really going to be afraid to leave the studio tonight after that.
I'm sorry.
Where do you people come from? And this sound would attract, I take it,
Wookiees?
I just use it mostly when I go camping. It just keeps anything that might come close to me that's spurring me away.
I bet it does. I bet the wolves and the mountain lions run for their lives. All right, sir, thank you. That's technically not a superpower, and technically it's a violation of my line policy. Steve, you're on the air on Skype. Hello.
Steve, me?
Steve, you, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know if I was the right Steve or not. Actually, Art Bell, I've been trying to call you since 1991. I first caught you. I was a truck driver over the road.
Man, there's a lot of dialing.
Yes. I tried maybe 7 or 8 times over the years. First time I've actually gotten through, and it happens to be on Skype.
Yes, there you have it.
I don't know if I have any superpowers or not, Art, but I have had 2 things happen to me, quite unexplainable to me, and
okay.
I haven't shared them, well, on air. I actually do radio and internet TV show myself.
Okay, well, share.
The first one was in 1985. I had a motorcycle. I was 21 years old. I worked in a factory. I had the world's most horrible day at work. Nothing went right. I think that Irishman named Murphy might have been following me around all day. I was mad at the world when I got done, and I tore off out of the factory and got out on the highway. Excuse me a second here. And I was doing as fast as my motorcycle would go. However fast it would go, I was going. And I come up on this S-curve, and there's a dip in the S-curve. And I got up on the other side through the S, and I found myself in the left-hand lane with a car coming the other way in her lane. She was in her correct lane.
Yes.
And I was in her lane as well.
Yes.
And I don't really know if I passed through her car. I know you was talking about this last night with the doctor, but I don't really know if I passed through her car or she passed through me. But I froze and she froze as well. And
you're here talking to me, so
yeah, I'm here talking to you as well. And
you really should be roadkill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you are roadkill. Maybe that's the miracle of this call. I'm going to settle for that one because there are so many people trying to get through. Save the next one for your next call.
Certainly.
And try to make it before, well, you said since 91?
Yes.
Yeah. Try to make it, a shorter span of time. But that was pretty good. There apparently are more stories like that out there to be heard. People who were in situations that would have resulted in their immediate mortality. In other words, you're about to hit a truck, you're about to hit a car, and somehow you're out on the other side of it in one piece. Now, that would certainly give credence to the guest I had on last night, who will be on again, be assured. We were talking about that sort of thing, and I think it's amazing, and I think there's something to it. Too many stories not to be. On my superpower line, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Julie.
Julie.
And I'm in Sandy, Utah.
Sandy, Utah. All right, Julie. Are you listening on the internet or to radio?
Well, I'm listening on the internet, but we do have, when I'm in the car, I listen on KTKK 6:30 a.m.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir.
All right. So you're on my superpower line, I hope with reason.
I have reason. I don't know if it's a superpower or a super curse.
Okay.
I have a hypersensitive sense of smell.
A hypersensitive, excuse me, what?
Sense of smell.
Oh, sense of smell, okay.
I can smell things that nobody else can. I worked in an ER for 15 years as a nurse, and I could smell them and tell, like, what was wrong with them. As a matter of fact, my mom came in one night, and she was really sick. She didn't know. I said, you have a urinary tract infection. How do you know that? That's disgusting. And I said, I can smell it.
No, I understand. I have heard people say this before. I have heard references also to animals that are able, through the sense of smell, to detect illness. So I believe you.
Yeah, and my sister is a homicide detective. And,
really?
She'd be a really interesting guest, by the way. She's the one. Did you ever hear about the Lori Hacking case, the lady that was killed by her husband and buried in the landfill out here? And they spent like 3 months digging in the landfill to find her.
By the way, what are you talking on?
Just a cell phone.
A cell phone, okay.
The
landfill case. Yeah, vaguely it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was one of those things that Nancy Grace got her hooks in, and it became national news.
Boy, when she gets her hooks into something, she doesn't let go, huh?
That's the truth. It can take a normal, and I guess I shouldn't say that it's normal, but it is normal, a normal domestic homicide, and turn it into this awful thing when it's happening every day and every day.
I know.
But
again and again, I know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think that's a remarkable. How do you handle this when you're in the company of others?
It can be really irritating. The smell of their laundry detergent bothers me.
Yes.
And it will actually make me nauseous. And one time, I was taking some classes at a community college, and I was talking to my sister, the homicide detective, on the phone. I said, every time I get here, they burn the coffee. I can smell the burned coffee every time. And she said, there's a crematorium across the street. And so I was smelling the crematorium.
No, I don't think it takes super smell to get that one. Listen, I want to make a suggestion to some of you. I live out here in an area where, to be frank, cell phone coverage is virtually non-existent. I live sort of down a hill from the bad area anyway. AT&T, which happens to be my provider, just started something that is really cool. And this is yet another way for some of you to sound really, really good when you call. So here it is. AT&T has just rolled out what they call Wi-Fi calling. And if you're in a bad cell area, oh man, give it a try. There are other cell services that do this. But Wi-Fi calling is about 5,000% better than normal cell phone calling from a quality point of view. or even a reliability point of view, if you happen to live in a very bad area. What I would say is if you've got AT&T and an iPhone or something like that, check into it, because Wi-Fi calling can sound every bit as good as Skype. It's that much better. It's kind of worth giving a try. So I think nationwide, Wi-Fi calling has simply just been rolled out by AT&T. And you might want to give it a try and then, call a friend or something and say, how do I sound? And, oh my, you're going to sound a lot better. So, something to play with. Wi-Fi calling. T-Mobile, I think, also does it. And others are on the way. And it sounds really, really good.
No, it doesn't. It sounds really, really, really bad because it's spending your own data to go ahead and cover their ass for not having cell towers. I'm sorry, I used to work for a cell company back in the day and be proverbially peeved off over that. Alright, so again, we're just muted until the music bumpers are complete. We will return to the show. In the meantime, let's hit the tower. Iris and Celeste, lead them, please. We can go ahead and rock on up.
I'm Isabel, and it's very late, so I'm sleeping now. But you're awake, so call my daddy because he's awake too. The number is 1-952-225-5278. That's 1952. Call Art.
That's Asia. Good morning, everybody. It is morning for the majority of you at this time. Still just a little after 11 out here on the Pacific Coast. So we've got open lines. That means anything you want to talk about is absolutely fair game. We have a superpowers line, which has been full the entire night. Area code 575-208-7787, and I am searching for people with real superpowers. So if that's you, call that number. If not, don't. The first-time caller line is area code 775-285-5800. Skype, of course, at MITD51 for North America and MITD55 for the rest of the world. So, let's see. Let's try another superpower call. You're on the air. Hello.
Greetings, Art.
Greetings, sir. You're breathing into your mic.
It's a cell phone apparatus or similar to that.
Sounds pretty good, actually, other than the breathing.
I am a telepath.
Really? So, by this you mean, is it one way or both ways? You can read my mind?
I intercepted your line to tell you this message, given to me by the Astra Command, referred to November 4th, 1977, message.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! Oh my god, I don't believe this guy's gonna go through with this. Oh my god, I don't really believe this asshole's gonna go through with this. Alright, I'm gonna let him go through this and then I'm gonna give you the reference.
That our planet, unfortunately, has 3 years. According to their previous message, it was not given an amount of time, but 3 years to either assume a more peaceful
stance
process
or
be disintegrated.
So in 3 years, if we are not a more peaceful people, we will be disintegrated.
Basically correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's more generous, I must say.
Species.
Yeah, that's more generous than a lot of recent end dates that we've had. Usually they're about a week or two away.
No. If you listen to their message, which was given on a television station in 1977,
yes.
They interrupted a television station. There are many people who can communicate with aliens, by the way. I know that may sound very strange and crazy.
No, not on this show.
But for most people, if you tell them that, Now I'm an ER doc, so if I told people that, I would be taken away, I think.
You're an ER doctor?
Yeah. And
you don't mention this to your patients.
There's a lot of people who are have tremendous amount of psychic power. I'm sure you know this.
Well, I mean, that's why I opened the line, because I really did want to find these people.
Well, I've had this since a little boy. I have seen people, well, I guess you call them ghosts, walking through walls, and used to drive my parents crazy, chasing imaginary people through our house when I was 4 and 5, and that type of stuff. I have some other things I can do also, which are not greatest things to talk about, I guess, but you know, I can see when somebody is going to die in advance.
Really?
Which is yeah, and I'm talking about days in advance.
May I ask this? How do you, when you see that they're going to die, when you look at this person and you have decided they're going to die, it is by, what is it you've seen that indicates that to you?
It's a very good question.
Yeah, it is.
I'll give you an example. When I was 11 years old at a table, sitting with my parents and a friend, and all of a sudden I saw a vision of this friend across from the table with blood all over his face, and his face was mangled. It lasted for about 4 seconds, 5 seconds. And I told my mother that, and she sort of looked at me with like a horrified expression.
Of course.
Because anyways, about a week later, he had an accident at work, and that's how he died. So it's not the greatest thing to have. I can also dream.
All right, well, let me stop you with that one. Yeah. If you can predict somebody to have, well, a horrible accident like that, the next question is, can you stop it? Can you intervene? Can you say, look, I'm looking at you right now, and I'm telling you that within the next week or so. No?
No, impossible. I'll tell you, I dreamt my son when he was 3 years old was going to fall down 15 stairs the next day.
Yes.
When I have dreams that are in color, they always come true. I told my wife, whatever you do, keep an eye on him. Do not let him out of your sight. He was standing right next to me the next day. The door to going down to the basement was closed, and I turned to the left. I looked somewhere. I turned to the right. He was 3. He disappeared. All of a sudden, I hear my wife screaming. She was downstairs in the basement. He went down 15 stairs, head over heels, not a scratch.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you can't prevent the future. I mean, at least our future.
Well, then it must be very painful to see it and not be able to do anything about it.
Well, it is extremely painful. Now, there are many people who are watching us, and it's often been talked about on your show and others.
The watchers.
That, yeah, they're watching us because we're at a critical stage. There are many people who can sort of figure out what's going on now. And there are aliens who are involved in the government. I have no doubt about that. In fact, I believe since 1963, they've been controlling the U.S. government, as crazy as that may sound.
Tell Trump.
But, well, you know, I mean, surely you see the changes that have occurred in society, you know, like.
I do, and, you know, most people.
There's a big fight going on.
Yeah, I know. Most people think that society is, I don't know, optimists are all over the place. I am not an optimist. I don't.
All right, so we're going to leave Art there. If we get time, we will come back. I just want to queue up something real quick while we still do have a moment. Let's get the next fight going, YQ. There we go. That's the channel I need. Gonna go back into the archives. This will definitely be an older episode. Here's a win. I'm actually searching a guy's channel who I know loved to go through a lot of signal jacking situations, especially during the analog days of television. And of course, in the US, we had the Max Headroom issue that happened on WGN Chicago, which of course was people who hijacked and then acted like they were the TV character Max Headroom, being very nasty and vulgar and everything else. And no, I'm not going to expose anybody to any of that. In the post analog, we even had the EAS hijacking of the Anthrax song for bodies coming out of the ground. Doing so. We then also had the Captain Midnight situation. And that was somebody, actually McDougal from Florida, who was extremely perturbed that his satellite business was going in the shitter because a lot of the cable and satellite channels were switching to encrypting their signal, which meant just as a regular C-band seller, you were not able to get like HBO, Cinemax, movie channels, and those kind of things just by having a C-band dish. However, attached to the end of that episode was the only known signal hijacking over in the UK. And that would be where we have the Art Bell reference that we were just listening to. It's called the Virilin situation. And it actually happened in the UK, the United Kingdom, on television network Southern Television. Is where this hijacking, and it was only the audio channel of that hijacking that actually occurred. But I don't want to actually read you the text, I actually want to play it, and he actually has a clip of the actual full signal hijacking, so that's what I'm trying to get a hold of here real quick. I'm trying to cue it up while I'm talking. Oh, I think that's it. Back it up. Okay. Here we go.
All your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race of which you are a part may proceed to the higher stages of its evolution, if you show yourself worthy to do this.
Did you know aliens have tried to contact us many, many times? British-sounding aliens that sounded like they've seen too many sci-fi movies. Well, back on Saturday, November 26, 1977 at 5:10 p.m. local time, the aliens got pissed. For years, if not centuries, the Ashtar Galactic Command had been trying to contact the government, though we're not sure which one. Possibly all of them. Anyway, they knew it was time to make their presence known to the general public. Now, due to budget restraints, the aliens could only afford to hijack the signal of England's Southern Television during the evening news. But believe me, had they had the budget, you could bet that they'd have hijacked every single TV and radio frequency in the world, with their message translated into every conceivable language, with every radio and TV turning itself on for the occasion. But, times were tight and they had to make do with what they got. So, anyway, what was this message? Well, believe it or not, today we've got an amazing treat for you. We've got the original man being itself. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Virilin. And now it's time for Poetry Corner. Reading today's poem is Vrillum of the Ashtar Galactic Command.
Go ahead.
For many years you have seen us as lights in the skies. We speak to you now in peace and wisdom as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid the disasters which threaten your world and the beings on our worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in the Great Awakening as the planet passes into the new age of Aquarius. The new age can be a time of great peace and evolution for your race, but only if your rulers are made aware of the evil forces that can overshadow their judgment.
This has been Poetry Corner.
I wasn't finished yet. If I had the budget, I'd vaporize you.
Okay, I think I've made my point here. Yes, the Southern television news was indeed interrupted, audio only, by someone claiming to be an alien. An alien that paraphrased Darth Vader's speeches and warned Earth people of their imminent demise if the use of nuclear energy isn't ceased immediately. If they were such superior beings and all, why didn't they stop us? Why didn't they follow through in some regard? Why didn't they offer an alternative to nuclear energy and our other evil ways, like all weapons, great and small? Why didn't they hijack more than just a single TV channel, audio only, in mostly rural southern England? They didn't even go for London? I guess they were just looking for a bit of that famous English hospitality that the big city just couldn't provide. To put it flatly, this was a hoax. Probably some broadcasting or science students looking for attention. And I'm not even going to go into whether or not I think they actually believed their own politics, because it doesn't matter. Now, like the later Max Headroom incident, these folks evidently knew that their signal could be traced after a while, so they kept their transmission relatively brief. This was the first documented case of illegal broadcast signal hijacking. It provided proof of concept to wannabe signal pirates all over the world that the relatively average person could bust into a broadcast if they really wanted to. On the other side of the coin, it prodded broadcasters and law enforcement officials to start tightening their control over the airwaves, which continues to this day. Now, even though it hasn't happened yet in the digital era,
I'm going to stop you there because, well, it has, just not at the time that you originally recorded this particular episode. And that is courtesy of Benny Boy, originally coming from Aurora, Colorado, now Sioux Falls, South Dakota, over at the Oddity Archive. So if you are into those kind of minutia and interesting situations, go ahead and give him a look up. Tell him GC Hero Wars sent you. And with that, I'm looking at the clock. Yeah, we got time for a couple more fights. Let's actually go into the arena. As we've fallen back outside of the top 1,000, so now we're only getting 5 per hour again instead of 10. We will save the rest of Midnight in the Desert for tomorrow night at this point, because it isn't really going to be a great worthy to load that back up just to stop it in about 2 minutes. Alright, let's get a refresh. Alright, let's go with that group. Actually, I'm going to want to flip 1 and 3 for this one. So 2 will be my throwaway fight, but I want to flip 1 and 3. So I'm going to take you, 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 and you, with you, and down in 3, we'll take you, Albus as the pet, with Maya, Luther, come on Luther, Okay, Luther doesn't want to come. We'll get him in a second. Mojo, Astrid Lucas. Okay, Iris, Luther, and Astrid Lucas. There we go. Alright. Let's go to the fight. Or at least let's hope it'll go. At least I'm crossing my fingers, thinking it will. Come on, Nexters. Here, Nexters. Okay, there it goes. Alrighty, round one. We've got Karf, Kira, Jorgen, Martha, and Astaroth. Against Astaroth, Yasmin, Arachne, Kira, and Celeste. And Karf goes down. Frontal rear attack from Martha. And Jorgen goes to Jorgane, aka Sogane. Alrighty. So the next round, of course, is the throwaway round. We wait for round two. We're going to speed this one up because this should be the quick throwaway fight. And it is. So onward and upwards to the fight that makes all the tea in China, round three. So we have Aurora, Kai. Oh God, I ain't even gonna get these out because they're already down to two. And that's it. 923, back inside the top 1,000, back inside of 10 happy coins an hour. Keep that 8,400 coins a churning. Down here, we have 119. Let's see if we can get through on this one fight. As it loads on up. Just a minute shy of the 1 hour mark. Huh. Both sides running their bites. Oh, she got my Celeste. I'm in trouble. Damn it. Well, let's take a look, see if we have anything left in the old mailbox to grab. me some glyphs. Let's make her slippery to forge. Oh, level 40's max? I thought it was 50. Ah, once you level 100, then you can go higher. Okay. Let's see if we can get that maxed. Okay, so there's the max out of that ability. I'll go up to 140. Alright. So that's going to be maxed out. We can do at least for now. That does give us a new power line of 148,000. 718 as we have right there. So with that, of course, please make sure, as always, you do like, share, and subscribe. Get us to those goals for both Boxy and Nexters. That's 5,000 views, 1,000 subscribers. Of course, if you do want some free crypto, information's down in the box below for CoinBase Earn. And until next time, of course, it's always a great night to be able to have a great new world to release the Kraken. We'll see you tomorrow for day 42 from day 1.